Calling a man bald can be sexual harassment, a High Court declared. A UK court rules bald jokes can be considered sexual harassment. This article is from a female, I'm going to say, author. Her name is Sammy Caramella. Yeah, she's female. She's good looking too. The reason why I thought she was female is because the article starts off saying, "No more bald jokes, girls," which is a bad start because the tone, patronizing perhaps. The type of woman who is very, very insensitive to men's insecurities also usually are the type to be hypersensitive to women's insecurities. I'll be the first to say that superficial comments and judgments about someone's physical appearance are not cool, but to label bald jokes a form of sexual harassment seems a bit extreme. Apparently the High Court thinks otherwise. The whole lengthy case started back in 2019 when an electrician named Tony Finn accused his boss of sexual harassment. Allegedly, Finn's boss at the British Bung Company had referred to him as a stupid bald cunt. According to the panel of judges, the term bald is inherently related to gender, so using it against a man could breach equality laws. In other words, bald is a sexist insult. Baldness is much more prevalent in men than women, they said. And then Sammy says, "Okay, well, tell that to the PCOS community." I guess PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which I'm assuming causes baldness. And it's amazing the way professional journalists who should have a above average verbal IQ don't know what the word more prevalent means. More prevalent means more often seen in men than in women. But she says, well, the PCOS community are bald. It's like so typical. That's not what we said. The electrician will likely receive compensation for the alleged sexual harassment. I believe that this type of thing, when it happens at a large enough scale, will lead to the downfall of the human race. It might sound a bit dramatic. But if you think about what built Western civilization, it's masculine virtues such as emotional toughness and honor. And the rules amongst men have always kind of been like, if somebody calls you a name and you start acting like a baby about it, or if you snitch, you will be far more ridiculed than the guy who called you the name. Think about building sites. Like, a guy gets called a wanker, he doesn't book in for a therapy session. And you might think, oh, that's because people who work in construction are uncouth, and so they're used to such vulgarities, and it's not a good thing. But actually, I would argue that building sites foster a culture of forgiveness. Building sites are like a church. They're an inherently Christian environment. Because what would Jesus have done if you made a bald joke about him? He would have possibly turned the other cheek. That's biblical. That's backed up by scripture. Now, the other thing he might have done is ran into the temple and thrown over all the tables. But I want you to know that I feel that this electrician may not care about his reputation. And I find that to be quite nihilistic, actually. Because obviously, if everybody goes around suing everybody for nothing, if nobody cares about their reputation in the community, obviously there'll be a breakdown in social trust. And social trust has been breaking down between men and women. Workplaces often are hyper-feminized now. It's not enough to do the work. It's you also, as part of the unwritten job description, you must adopt politically correct vernacular and left-leaning political ideologies. And if you're a man, that often means that your entire work life is either basically a theatre performance or a vow of silence. And meanwhile, we've all decided that virtues like emotional toughness are considered toxic, or encouraging forgiveness is like victim blaming. And it's kind of led to this disaffected generation of men who can't be themselves, and so who kind of naturally retreat to video games. And what do they do in those Call of Duty lobbies? I'm told they say retarded and gay a lot. And even beyond that, diversity quotas are sort of elevating women artificially in areas like IT where there's a prominent gender gap. So you're kind of going, I can't express an opinion at work. I can't get a promotion. I can't ask a girl out at work. Women can get promotions, women can crack a joke, and women can ask men out at work. And then if my day isn't bad enough, somebody's come along and called me a stupid bald cunt. And if they'd done that to a woman, there'd be some kind of international conference called. There'd be a day named after the atrocity that we'd all have to solemnly acknowledge for the rest of our lives. And you kind of go, well, if you can't beat them, join them. He sexually harassed me. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on this follically fragile friend of ours, this chap. Hopefully you made a few quid. Anyway, thanks for watching News of the Week. I'll see you soon.